Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's Danny Limelight. And I need all of you to subscribe to According to Woods podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and all other platforms.
What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I have the honor and privilege of reviewing the 2002 movie that should have been a blockbuster hit, Big Trouble, with none other than fierce females, BigFemVader, Ayesha Raymond.
Hi.
Ayesha, what's going on?
I don't understand why this movie was made. It's so bad taste and timing, but it was not their fault. It wasn't their fault. I'm sorry.
Okay, Snitsky. Oh man, you're just gonna start off healing it out. My
Not their
fucking.
fault. No.
Oh, jeez. No, man. I mean, okay. You say I don't understand why this movie was made, but also a purveyor of the Spice World movie.
Yes, I am. Just because, like, this movie was fine up until the very last couple moments, and you're like, how is this not confidential information? No wonder they couldn't show this. You would have literally had, I'm not going to say it out loud, but there would have been more instances than what happened.
Yeah, no, 100%. And this also is a timestamp, right? Because unfortunately, for to give people some backstory, right? This was done at a time like post 9/11, where the one of the main like the overrunning theme was there was a bomb. There was a fucking bomb, right? That most people kind of, just to kind of pass it. It was like, oh, it's a traveling
Here's a
garbage
box.
disposal.
There you go.
Yeah, it was a garbage disposal, and yeah, man, and it takes you on a ride. Like for me, I remember there's so many memories that I look. I mean, just watching it the first time, I was just like, holy fuck! Like in terms of storytelling, you couldn't, you couldn't do this, right? And then have the ensemble, right? It starts off with Jason Lee, who looks like Jesus, right? And then he would go on. He was kind of, you know, off of the Kevin Smith, like as Brody, in like Clerks and Mallrats and everything like that, within that Kevin Smith cinematic universe, Jay and Silent Bob, whatever, right? And this is pre My Name is Earl, which a lot of people know him for, right? In terms of solo, away from like the Kevin Smith movies, right? So like you see him here, and he's long haired with like a backdrop and whatever, and it's like it's not Jesus, he's puggy, and he lives in a tree. Yeah,
At least the one heartwarming storyline before like the mishmash of the characters. Like I know how nonsensical it was and how kind of stupid they were at times, but my favorite two characters was Tim Allen and his son, because you could see he was trying so hard, but
yeah,
so oblivious to the fact that okay, you're probably not that great of a father. Probably
yeah.
not.
No, but I mean, to get Tim Allen's character right, I think they pretty much established where he was in life. Pretty, like they start off like him and his ad agency, and the Portland gentleman like he's getting fucking blue in the face, yelling at him. I was like, and he runs this this ad advertising agency, right? And he's just like, where did it all go wrong for me, right? And it's just like, yeah, I used to work at the fucking Miami Herald and whatever, until they pissed me off one day, because I found out later that, I mean, earlier in the day, that my wife was, basically fucking the tennis instructor, right?
Cheating on him, yeah.
Yeah, and his boss just said something, like he was in terms of, you know what society, right? He won the awards, so they left him alone, right, for the better part or whatever, and then just a new management change or whatever the fuck, and there's this fucking cretin, like couldn't even fucking looking him in the eye, and it was like, I want you to put these words in the fucking computer by the end of the day, and fucking Tim Allen puts his foot in the fucking computer and walks out. I don't know, like, again, so I saw it. I can't remember. I was a part of the workforce when I saw it, right? But very new, right? And very much like the company person and what have you. So I didn't know that level of furor that you could get with your boss. Like obviously I'd seen like, Austin McMahon and Rage Against the Machine and all like those kind of constructs or whatever, but like I'd never actually been that pissed off. There was a time I
Really?
actually, yeah, I wasn't at that place in my like work life where, I was always like everything's hunky dory and all that shit, and it would, and like one of the last jobs that I had, right, on paper, before I kind of went independent was like I would cry in the fucking break room because I couldn't kick this guy's ass.
Why couldn't you? Is that not allowed in
I
your
mean, no,
world?
no. Well, yeah, the Austin McMahon and shit. No,
Oh,
it's not.
right.
Unfortunately, yeah, COVID numbers. That's but like fucking shit bosses that. Well, didn't they have like a fucking horrible bosses? Didn't they make two movies of that?
Yes,
Right. So I'm just saying.
it's a thing. Yeah, I know, but it's just that it, for me, I flash back to I unfortunately had that problem with a boss that I probably wanted to cave his skull in,
Yeah,
and he annoyed me so much that I put my fist through my locker.
yeah.
So I could completely understand it. I thought he was going to do a little bit more than put his foot through the computer screen, to be honest.
Honestly, yeah, absolutely. But that's why he became an ad exec and the fucking guy screaming down his throat because he's like, he was like a fucking fishhook ale and he wanted, like literally, sorry to be misogynist, but he wanted tits and
You
beer.
went, yay!
That's what the guy wanted, and the dude was trying to be Tim Allen's character was trying to be irreverent and have a ugly fish with a hook and whatever, and he's like, no, that's not the way it's supposed to be. Even the ideology of having a Geo Metro, right? And
Yeah,
being like just the jobber to his son, right, in terms of life, because yeah, that was like the fucking like the quintessential, product of all of his bad life choices was the fact that he got a fucking Geo Metro. You
mhm.
know, that's yeah, it was
You see, because of me, that's why I'm glad me and you are together. You speak and things pop in my head. The movie was so because it's so disconnected for me. I can't remember things in chronological order. I remember the stories and the splices of the
yeah,
stories, and then the airport scene because you can't forget that one.
yeah,
Um, but it was so mishmash. But for some reason, all the characters are so far apart from each other. But the directors and the writers found a way to almost make it make sense.
yeah. Oh yeah, no, and that's the thing. You have to get it in its entirety. If you were to play, and I'm surprised that they were even able to get a trailer across that would make sense and make you want to watch the fucking movie. Because like I couldn't have done it because you need every bit. Like I was showing the first time I showed my wife, I was like, no, you gotta fucking watch this, and she was like on her phone. I was like, no, 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 you gotta fucking watch this because otherwise none of it makes sense. None of it
Mm.
makes sense. You gotta fucking plop your fucking butt down, your posterior down on whatever recliner, and we gotta watch this, and you will be rewarded for your patronage for sure. But you gotta fucking do it all the way through. Otherwise, you don't. And I mean, just the acting, right? And we mentioned like Jason Lee, right? And in the poster and what have you, it's Rene Russo and Tim Allen.
Yeah.
They're the stars, but you don't really get that. You had like fucking Stanley Tucci was brilliant. You have a young Sofia Vergara. You've
A
got
very young Mike Epps for some
Mike
bleeping reason.
Epps. Yeah, dude. Actually, Mike Epps around this like he was. What was that thing? It wasn't Set It Off. It was he was he was. I remember the first time that I saw like Mike Epps, or the first time that he became like really big. It was
Mm.
like it was a dark fucking thing, like a
Really?
dark movie, like in a school, and he had a gun. That's
Oh,
all I
for me, it's
remember.
Fighting Temptations. That's the first time I think. No, I used to watch Def Comedy Jam. What am I talking about?
Okay.
That's why I know of Mike Epps. But I'm just like, what dark theme? I want to know what that movie is.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, there's so many great. Andy Richter from the fucking Conan O'Brien show. He was supposed to be the successor to Jay Leno. You know, Conan O'Brien was supposed to be the successor to Jay Leno in the fucking late night comedy wars here in North America, and that didn't work out. And Conan went to CBS, sister fucking station of AEW, TBS,
Oh,
that
yeah.
TBS, right? Um, yeah, I mean, Heavy D, Omar Epps, like they had both Epps, right? They had Mike and
Oh yeah,
Omar.
that's true. That is true.
Wow, holy shit! I don't know if they're related, but that's just fun.
Like
Yeah,
both.
yeah, they're both Epps, both black, both talented, I guess.
Both Buzz Lightyears. It appealed to both generations, and this time I think Tim Allen would have still been doing Home Improvement, wouldn't he?
He was fresh off because I think they finished Home Improvement '01. I want to say because
Yeah.
I remember being in high school when that whole thing and you know really um the wave of fucking Jonathan Taylor Thomas, which funny enough,
Mm.
wrestling reference, Jonathan Taylor Thomas was at WrestleMania 11, you know, as one of the celebrities and shit like that. But yeah, so he was off of that, but he was pretty like around this time, he was pretty ingrained in like the first maybe second Toy Story, right? Like
That's the one. Yeah, it was the second.
the first one was like 96, 97, right? And then I want to say like the early 2000s is when we get a second one. So,
Mm.
you know, it was him kind of stepping away from like that sort of leading man, like, you know, because he hadn't really done a lot of things on camera. He would go on to do like, he had like a outdoor show, like where it was like him and his wife, and they own like a fucking tackle, like a fishing shop
Oh,
or whatever. I never
yeah.
watched it, but whatever. That was before this. But aside from Home Improvement and then him being sight unseen as Buzz Lightyear, you know, we didn't really see him around this
Mm.
time unless like he would do drop-ins at the Comedy Store or whatever. But this is pre, you know, GoPro, cell phone, and you know, camera in the cell phone. So you don't have a lot of footage from that time period.
I mean, I personally, I can't hear his voice now without hearing Buzz Lightyear, but just literally seeing him on screen, it was weird because, like I said, you got both. I was a fan of the Toy Story movies and the actual TV series, and to have both of them there was almost like a mind shock. I'm like, there's two Buzz Lightyears. The universe is going to implode.
Wait, I don't think we got the fucking Toy Story TV show here.
You didn't
So
get it.
I don't. Yeah. So who's? I mean, indulge us. Who's the second Buzz Lightyear?
Oh crap! I need to remember his hair. It's his name that always slips my mind. Black hair. It's gonna annoy me. Black hair. I'm trying to remember his last name. Big
What's his fir-
fella. I
What's his
can't
first
remember.
name?
I can't remember. I always forget, and I always just say Buzz Lightyear.
Okay.
I'm going on IMDb right now.
Dun dun dun. Um.
Don't cancel me for this. No, but
No.
it was weird to see because I don't think he was in a lot of movies at this time. Cast. I am so professional.
No, it's fine. Hey, you know what?
Patrick Warburton. Was that it?
Yes, Patrick Warburton. There
There
you
we
go.
go. There we
Yeah.
go.
No, 100%. And Patrick Warburton, around this time, he was famous for, you know, being the fucking Elaine's, I think, boss in Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Around, yeah, that was his time. And I mean, I think Friends had ended also within a year or two of this, right? So there's that. You know, Janine Garofalo, who I fucking love. I love her just deadpan humor. She's like, if you know Stephen Wright, and for those who don't know the works of Stephen Wright, if you've ever seen Half Baked and the dude on the fucking couch, that's Stephen Wright, and he's probably the most brilliant fucking deadpan, like the most insane shit can fly out of his mouth, and he just no sells it. And Janine Garofalo for me is the female Stephen Wright. Like, and it's really high, right? Um, and you know, Garofalo is a part of the LGBTQ community or whatever, but she's like a sex symbol in the sense that she is the I guess the draw of Patrick Warburton's lust and what have you. So it was just kind of fun to. It was, you know, it's acting, like it's
Yeah.
just acting, right? So, um, Yeah, there was it. Oh, fucking. Okay, what was your favorite part of the movie?
My favorite part is it's got to be the end. Like I don't know why that is literally the in the end because it's so educational. It's
Oh,
watching it bit by bit, even the things that they say, their actions, and what they're doing. I won't ruin it because we haven't got to that yet. But it's very. I can understand why they couldn't release it because even the things that they say it's so irrational. But the fact that they got away with it, you could actually do that.
yeah. Again, it was filmed pre 9/11, right? It was filmed pre 9/11 and got shelved because of 9/11, right? And it had bombs, it had things that you couldn't say, right? There were there were things that you fucking looked at and you got cringe. It wasn't as bad as like as good as it gets, where like Greg Kinnear's character is just like the heel because he's gay. Like it wasn't that bad, right? But there was some kind of unsettling moments and what have you. But my favorite moment, and I remember laughing like fucking hysterical, like to the point where I could not breathe. Like I was just like gasping for fucking breath. It was like somebody punched me in the fucking chest. But when Garofalo and Stanley Tucci's characters and how asshole that Stanley Tucci is to his wife, to just
Oh
in general,
yeah.
right? And they're whatever, and Garofalo fucking pulls the fucking rack down, and then there's the fucking toad, and it spits in his face, and he's fucking hallucinating, and the dog's barking at him, and it's Martha Stewart's head. I swear to God, I laugh so fucking hard. I God, oh,
You know what I flash? I'm glad you said that. You know what I flashed back to at that moment? Did you ever
oh
watch Drag Me to Hell?
no.
You should
Maybe I should.
watch it. Type in
Okay,
"Drag Me to Hell" the goat scene. That's what it
okay,
reminded me of. It was
okay,
just like the face and everything that happened. It was just now I remember.
okay. Yeah, no, but I just thought it was hilarious, and I didn't know. It was pretty wet between the ears, right? I didn't know about like I hadn't Joe Rogan's fucking podcast wouldn't happen for another 5 years. So
So there was
talking
no
about
educational means for
yeah,
you
talking about
whatsoever.
elk meat and fucking hallucinogens and mushrooms and look into it. That was never like a thing. My dad was a conspiracy theorist, but like that's the extent of it. So like I didn't know what the fuck was happening, but they did give you like I watched Half Baked and Cheech and Chong, and it wasn't until I was like an adult that they were talking about weed. To me, I
Actually,
just thought they were fucking funny. Those movies are funny. I didn't really associate it with like the weed culture until way later. Same thing with like we're fucking Grateful Dead and Fish. Like I dig those bands for the artistry and shit like that. But like I didn't know that they were fucking hippie whatever. But then I should know because I grew up in San Francisco, right? And the Dead were purveyors of that fucking hate Asbury region and all the fucking wavy gravies and shit like that. So I should have known, but I didn't know. I was a fucking wee lad that wanted good and peace in the world. I don't know.
if you chose not to know, I mean, I watched How High probably when I was before I even knew what they were talking about. Seeing a Benjamin Franklin with the bong at the end of the movie, I was like, oh, so you just ruined American history.
Oh, do you guys get HBO?
Now we do, yeah. I've got cable. So.
Okay, so on HBO Max, there's a deal. Robert Wool, who used to play Arliss as a it was a show where he was like a fucking sports agent, right? And I never watched the show, but the guy Robert Wool, who's a comedian, actor, what have you, I thought this thing vanished into the ether because it was the fucking truth be told, and I looked it up to show my fucking kid, and it was on HBO Max, and I fucking sat my wife and my kid, my 13-year-old down. It's like we gotta watch this, and it's a fucking two-part series called "Assume the Position," where they fucking like basically. I mean, they got some wise gems, verbal gems, such as like you know. We're star fuckers, right? And star fucking is as American as apple pie. That's why we had like Arnold as the fucking governor, Ronald Reagan, who was the fucking ad actor. He wasn't even like a actor. He was like a bit part player. He became governor of California and president, whatever. Like we just star fucking is American as apple pie, right? And when legend and fact are here, print the legend, right? Things like, and maybe it's skewed over here, but like we kind of looked at like the British and whatever as like, oh fuck you, man, like you
Oh,
guys are
why? We're
the
so lovely.
yeah, no, I agree. Well, it's not no more even ironic that like all of our fucking talent show, American Idol, America's Got Talent, America has got a fucking Brit on the panel or was created by a
By a
Brit.
British person, yeah.
Just
But
saying.
you guys still did The Office better than us.
Okay, all right.
Your Office is
I
still better than us.
I
Americans disagree, I know that. But
I didn't. I don't have a dog in the hunt. I didn't watch either.
oh,
I know my kids watched it, and I kind of my kids are funny. The older ones, right? They would like watch Bernie Mac, and my wife same, right? Would watch
oh.
Bernie Mac and what have you, R.I.P. Bernie Mac. But then I would
Mhm.
do the same, and then they'd be like fucking fart face or whatever, and I'm like, but you guys are fucking laughing at it, or
So
whatever,
why
and
can't
I'm
I love it too?
or do such things, and
Yeah.
like I don't know. So yeah, I love them all, but yeah, it's just But going back to the assume the position, right? They were like, the we were taught of this late night ride of Paul Revere where he's telling the fucking people that the British are coming, and he went from coast to coast to basically tell of this, like ringing his fucking on his horse, ringing the bell, the British are coming, the British are coming, the redcoats are coming, right? Yeah, and to find out that Paul Revere rode 19 miles, right? He rode 19 miles, which for the day, awesome. But there was a gentleman named Nathaniel Bissell that literally went from like Maine to, I don't know, like the Carolinas or some shit like that. Like literally all of our country up to this point, right? Before we went west, right? When it was just an eastern, that was America. It was the fucking 13 colonies and whatever. He went literally from each one of the colonies. But again, the Nate Night ride of Paul Revere sounds so much more inspiring than the fucking Nathaniel. Let me grab a thistle and we'll tell you about the tale of Nathaniel Bissell, which even Robert Wool as a Jewish man goes like, that sounds like a Jewish vacuum salesman. That yeah, and yeah, so
Why?
that's the shit, So and like even like the Rosa Parks deal, right? Like Rosa Parks, I might get fucking canceled for this, but let me go. So Rosa Parks actually worked for the NAACP. Okay, here's the deal. So maybe about a month or so before the Rosa Parks deal, the scenario of her sitting on the bus and not wanting to move because her feet were tired, that actually happened.
But to somebody else. The Boondocks called that out because I remember
Oh,
watching that episode.
yeah. So basically, and I'm not saying that Rosa Parks wasn't a historian or whatever, or a positive historical figure, but the fact of the matter is there was I want to say maybe a 14 to 16-year-old unwed mother, and the reason why she didn't want to move because her feet were fucking swollen because she was pregnant, right? Well, they don't, for the social good and the proliferation of the NAACP, they can't have an unwed mother in the fucking 50s to, whatever, uneducated unwed mother, whatever. So they basically, Rosa Parks was a NAACP secretary. So they
She was a
basically,
part.
they cast her to replay that and paid all the the what is it, newspapers and everything to basically banish the story of the girl, you know 2 months before.
Well, I did hear that there was another story, or there was a story, an original story, and that was basically like a media stage.
Yeah,
I'm not saying she probably didn't go through things, but I did hear that. And then I used to watch Boondocks a
Oh
couple of
yeah,
years ago when it was on, and they did. Even though Grandpa wasn't the guy, they having somebody else.
you want to you want to know something funny, right? So Uncle Ruckus is also Samuel L. Jackson's character from Django. And I can think of one other example, but it's the same kind of ethos.
Oh
Like
yeah, the
Uncle
the
Ruckus
the
is Samuel L.
the,
Jackson in Django.
the deluded, slightly jaded. Oh, and it's the character that James Chappelle plays on his
Yes,
skit, the
yes,
blind.
yes. Clayton Bigsby. Yes,
Yeah,
they're
okay.
that's the third one. That's exactly it. Clayton Bigsby, Uncle Ruckus, and the Samuel L. Jackson in Django. It's the same deal. And yeah, I mean, yeah. So speaking of Big Trouble,
No,
saying that,
that's
but no. So that deal, right, with the fucking Toad, like basically throwing up on Stanley Tucci and what have you. Like to me, I fucking howled laughing. Like to get on with the rest of the thing. Like I saw it maybe either on HBO. Oh yeah, that's the deal. I saw it on HBO, and I had to go for the next showing because I had laughed whatever that like I caught it 10 minutes after the fact, and they moved
oh,
on without me. So I was like, I had to catch the next showing. This is before TiVo and DVR and
couldn't
all
press
that.
rewind.
Yeah, couldn't fucking press rewind. So yeah, this is. Yeah, it was good. And Charles the Professor Wilson says, "Hey guys," and he said, and he didn't know that.
What didn't you
No,
know? What part?
the Rosa Parks and how
Oh,
she,
you did.
yeah, yeah. Which I mean, speaking of like Brits, like I'm not. I like a couple Beatles songs, but I'm not a huge Beatles fan. I love rock music and whatever, but I'm not a huge Beatles fan. But one thing that I absolutely fucking subscribe to is The Fall, right? Like Paul McCartney is a really a doppelganger for whatever. Is really Billy Shears because Paul McCartney died in '54, and they didn't want the fucking girls to commit suicide in mass because their fucking
The
lover boy.
hero was gone.
Yeah, right, exactly. So they basically had a photographer, and they what is it? Did plastic surgery. He already looked like Paul, but he did even more.
Do a little
And
bit more.
yeah, exactly. So and also that was the reasoning why they didn't tour anymore because people who had saw that first like Dodger Stadium, Shea Stadium, that first wave of the British invasion of the Beatles, like
They
they would
would
be like
notice.
they notice.
I was weird. I like the Monkees and the Beatles. But then the same story goes for Dave Chappelle. Remember, he's been switched. Look at the pictures of Dave before he went away. What's after? It's a cyborg.
Oh my god. Don't tell me that,
I love Dave
please.
Chappelle.
Yeah, I
I
just saw it.
think-
I just saw that fucker. So Foo Fighters opened up Madison Square Garden, right? Like the first band to play Madison Square Garden in New York since the pandemic started and whatever. And he came out and joined them on a cover of Radiohead's Creep.
oh, don't. I want to hear that now.
Yes, you must. It's and Dave is into it, and he puts like you wouldn't think that there would be like Tom York and then the Foo Fighters. There's not much soul there. It's a fucking great song. Radiohead is a great band, but you didn't think whatever, but like Dave Chappelle puts a swag to it, and again, it's not something that you're gonna go like, oh, fucking Dave Chappelle's has a operatic range that I never knew. No, it's fucking Dave Chappelle
No,
fucking
it's
singing a
Dave
song.
Chappelle. You
But
guys heard Eddie Murphy's Red Light? Don't complain.
wait, wait. No,
What?
fucking party all the time. That's what you
Oh,
want to
okay.
go.
Yeah, that's true.
Like him and Rick James and everybody that was there on the video, not even giving a fuck that anybody knew that they were fucking doing lines and Black Tar Heroin on the fucking set. They didn't
On the
hide.
instruments.
Like I think there's a point where they cut to Rick James and he literally has like
Now.
a fucking coke line. Yeah.
It's when you do the nose wipe hair flick at the same. I'm not saying
Yes.
I know anything about. I'm gonna go now.
Ah! God, where do I move on? Um,
Thanks.
yeah, shit, me. No, dude. There's so many. This movie stands up for me. Like, I mean, there's a little bit of like, Tim Allen's kid, right? Calling him from a payphone to borrow the Geo Metro, like that, right? Because obviously we got cell phones now. That would be different. The staging, right? They had fucking DJ Qualls as a friend, right? From, the Tim Allen's kid's best friend was DJ Qualls from Road Trip.
I
Like,
personally would have swapped the kid for Seth Green and just done a rat race because it was so rat risk XS.
yes, yeah, no, 100%. That's another fucking great movie. That's Fringe, and you got Rowan Atkinson, not as
Big W is better. Watch the original.
yeah, dude, no, but like Rowan Atkinson, where he's not Bean at all. He's not Mr. Bean at all. He's an Italian. I just that he, it's funny because he's doing Italian, but he's also doing the Swedish Chef from the Muppets.
I haven't got that.
Yeah. No, and maybe Seth Green was probably filming like Can't Hardly Wait or something like that. He might have been unavailable, but like even that dude, right? Like the kid that played Tim Allen's son, for a time he was like, he was a like he did some shit like in
He did stuff.
he did stuff.
I feel bad. Don't hate us. You did stuff.
Yeah, he did stuff. Fucking Johnny Knoxville, dude. Johnny Knoxville is in this.
I can't see him in other things. It's just so.
Wait, you didn't see The Ringer?
No.
Oh,
I didn't
God.
really become a fan of Johnny Knoxville as such until the whole was it Britney Spears thing started going on. Like, who was he dating? There was somebody he was dating in like the mainstream ages ago, and that's when he kind of popped into everybody's vision.
Really?
There was someone that he was going out with, and I can't remember who it was, but I've never actually watched a single Johnny Knoxville film.
Really? You didn't get into Jackass at all?
No, God, no. First of all, I'm a girl. Second of all, I grew up with brothers. Third of all, I then became a wrestler. So I saw bodily fluids and stupid all the time.
Yeah. See, for me, and that was also my love of wrestling and MMA and whatever, right? Like when I watched Superman, right, as a kid, and we lived in Victorian apartments in San Francisco, and my parents going like, always watching me and watching the fucking window because they didn't want me to fucking fly out the window like Superman, right? But then when I saw fucking Randy Savage and Bret Hart do fucking superhero shit, cartoon shit, but in real life, I was just like, oh man, that's cool. And then when I would hear of Bret Hart's, Stu, right? Bret Hart's dad, Stu, fucking choking out bears and shit like that. And I'm like, that's just a fucking dude. A dude who with skill and tenacity or just pigheadedness can do that. Like, and so I got into like the fucking Tough Man and American Gladiators, this shit that, people can do, X Games and everything. And Jackass for me was kind of that way, right? Like pushing the fucking limits of what you can do with your body, with your art, and that might include shoving a fucking Matchbox car up your ass. And
or toothpicks in the eyelid. Why?
Oh, it wasn't even fucking toothpicks. Didn't they do the fucking the firecrackers? They did firecrackers.
Yeah, whatever it is, it was poking into somebody's eye.
Yeah, I was totally into that, man. I fucking dude, you're talking to somebody who the day that the fucking Jackass movie came out, I ditched school to take a 30-minute drive to the nearest fucking cinema, and I watched every fucking showing, like from 9 a.m. to like midnight. I
Did you
saw
just
it.
not leave?
I didn't. Yeah, and I'm dumb. I could have like snuck in or whatever. No, I did school to pay like $100 to fucking watch the same movie, whatever. Because to me, I was like, those are my guys. I gotta support them.
You see, your story is better than mine. The last time I technically ditched school, it was our school sports day, and we went for a Blue concert, and it was the day of the 7/7 bombings. I was taught from that moment on never to do anything like that again.
Wow.
Yeah, so stay in school.
Yeah, oof, that's rough. That's fucking. Oh
That's why
god.
this movie hit home so much. I was just like, oh my gosh, it's educational in the sense of you know what not to do, and we kind of understood a lot of the fear that a lot of people had because until I was put in that instance, it was just like, oh, life. But
Yeah. Well, oh yeah, okay. So here's the deal. So I'm looking at the cast, right? So obviously, in no particular order, we got Tim Allen, we got Ben Foster who plays his son, and yeah, Ben Foster, he was in the fucking Punisher and X-Men Last Stand and the Alpha Dogs, and like
you
he's
just named
done.
3 movies that I haven't seen.
Okay. Oh, he's married to fucking Donna from that '70s show.
Oh, okay, all right, there we go. But they ruined
Okay.
Donna. They ruined
Yeah.
her.
Hot Donna. Hot Donna.
They
Yeah.
ruined Donna.
So Tim Allen, Ben Faster, Renee Russo, Omar Epps, Dennis Farina, Janine Garofalo, Johnny Knoxville, Jason Lee, Tom Sizemore before the fucking coke and drug addiction got really bad, Stanley
Mm.
Tucci, Sofia Vergara, Jack Keller, a young Zoe Deschanel before Almost Famous, before The New Girl, right? Heavy D, Andy Richter, God, DJ Qualls.
You could not make this film now.
No, like the
You've just
fucking
named
budget.
about 4.5 billion already.
Yeah, it's just the level of talent and for the lack of acclaim that I totally get why it wasn't bigger than it is, right? But like when you go to like Rocky, right? Like Rocky Horror Picture Show where people like fucking dress up as,
But
Frankenfooter
it
and
being a cult classic, this didn't get a chance to be a cult classic.
no, not at all.
A real bomb went off.
Yes, dude, Sizemore fucking like holding the fucking bomb case as he, and that moment was so fucking poignant, right? Like he fucking, Tim Allen finally fucking grows a set, right, and fucking kicks Sizemore off, and he's got the and almost like fucking Capo Caveman from the Wacky Racers, right? He's holding the fucking thing, descending like in straight form, like almost like an Olympic fucking diver. He's the holy diver. He's what fucking Dio is talking about. He's the fucking holy diver because him fucking perishing and the fucking mushroom cloud out of the fucking water, like civilization still
Exist?
it works. Like we still have civilization. And it's weird because this is Miami. I just woke up to like a fucking like my YouTube fucking algorithm, like the digest is all over like a fucking building collapse in fucking like 20 minutes outside of Miami. Like a
Really?
fucking whole building, like a whole high-rise apartment building just fucking
YouTube. See, this is what they don't tell us this stuff. It takes 6 hours.
yeah, see, it's nuts, right? But like that happened just on, and even they're saying like shoddy infrastructure for the the building and whatever, but people were still fucking living there. There's people were still living like so it was like 2 towers. Oh god.
Mm.
Yeah. But yeah, there's I'm gonna go with it.
I
Fucking
have many faces, so keep
yeah,
going. I can change it
yeah.
periodically.
So, but one of the towers fucking goes. It almost implodes. See what I'm doing here? It almost implodes. And yeah, it just. I mean, a horrible fucking instance that happened. But again, if that can happen just on general premise that a fucking building can fucking fall down, right? Imagine if Tom Sizemore or the bomb that aka the fucking traveling garbage disposal went off in fucking Miami, it would be way worse than what we just saw a couple hours ago in Florida.
Dude, it wasn't even that part. It's the scene in the airport when they're actually trying to get the briefcase through. When they actually ask him what it is, he says it's a garbage disposal. Look, I'll flick the switch. I'm like, what? I'm like, no, don't flick that switch. Don't flick it off.
And it wasn't even him, right? He had fucking Puggy because they fucking grabbed his silly ass, right? Like, oh, fucking Jason Lane's not doing anything. They pulled his ass to fucking be the attaché almost like the Tim White to Andre the Giant. If the fucking bomb slash garbage disposal was Andre the Giant, then Puggy Jason Lee was Tim fucking White, the great referee. Like he was the personal attaché of it, because once it fucking entered his grips, it never dissipated. Like he just until that fucking when they actually get on the fucking plane. That was it. He was like attached to that fucking thing.
Look, it's working.
Yeah. Oh, even the deal. And speaking of like deadpan, whatever, I forgot her name, Shaban, what have you. But she was in Shaban Fallon Hogan, who again, for her credit, she doesn't get her just due. She was Lainey, Salma Hayek's friend in Fools Rush In, and she would do like this, like, oh my god, you're Alex Whitman's parents. Like, oh my god, I didn't know he was married. And like the fucking girl goes like, wow, and Siobhan just basically goes, oh wow, like fucking mocking her. She's so great in this, and she's in here right as the ticket agent for and this whole fucking scenario, just how dumb fuck Sizemore and Knoxville's characters are, right? Just absolute dumb shit, right? Because they go in and they want to go to the Bahamas and whatever, right? And they go up to the fucking ticket taker who played by Shaban, and they're like, we want to go to the Bahamas, and she goes like Nassau or Freeport, right? And like the Bahamas, like which
just land the plane.
We're like, right, and then it's like, can I see your ID? Right? And then he was like, yeah, and fucking plops down $100, like a wad of fucking $100 bills. This is ID, right?
We're all Mr. Pink today.
Yeah, and here's the fucking deal, right? The damn computer system, it literally has a post-it that says out of order. She gets to like bill number 3 and she fucking stops counting, right? And it's funny because she could have fucking taken all of the fucking money. She like takes a sum and then gives it back, right? To which Tom Sizemore, his character, is like, what are the names, right? John Smith.
Everybody John Smith today.
John Smith. And everything, he's just plopping down fucking more hundies, right? On the fucking deal. So the money, as noble as she tried to be to give him back or whatever, she's getting it all fucking back. Just getting it all back. And I was just like, she was the perfect actress to have in this fucking scene. Like, I love her work. And she was the perfect, like, it would be either her or if you did the male version, it would be like Ben Stein, right? Like Bueller, right? Or there's another dude. Oh, Larry Miller, who was the balding gentleman. He was I want to say the dad to Julia Stiles in 10 Things I Hate About You. I want to say.
Oh, him. Okay.
Yeah, that dude. Like there were only 3 people in the world that could have played this fucking deal, and I love it, dude. Even fucking Martha Stewart. That was really her. Like that was an acting credit. That she is the psychological embodiment.
Hallucination of
yeah, yeah. It's just, oh god, it's so good. The girl that plays George Lopez's daughter in the George Lopez show, she's in here. Again, a young Zooey Deschanel, before she goes into, like, I think she was still a teen here, so she was a couple years removed from her breakout role. I think as like the older sister in Almost Famous, right? One of my fucking favorite movies of all time. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Like, there's so many fucking great parts in this movie, and it's just like, and it's something that you do definitely have to pay attention to, because if you're like, oh, this doesn't make sense, which I think that might have been my wife's sentiments, like, what the fuck, this is so stupid, right? And then I'm like, no, you gotta fucking watch and to watch it play out. Like, I think when when I finally got over my laughing attack after Stanley Tucci's, fucking hallucinogenic state or whatever, I think my sister and I, this was on like a constant loop. We had like a one summer, it was just like Big Trouble, Josie and the Pussycats, and
Oh,
Ferris Bueller, like on HBO. We were just home for the summer and we just watched nothing but this.
wow. Well, thank you for introducing to me. I did have to watch it. I tried to watch it 3 times, so I kept getting interrupted. And I can tell everyone it's not the kind of movie that you want to watch in bits. Unless
No.
you can have time and watch it all the way through,
Mhm.
don't bother because it didn't help my brain.
Yeah, and it's not like it's a fucking Zack Snyder's director's cut of fucking Justice League or what have you. Not, it's a 90-minute movie, right? There and abouts, right? But yeah, the fucking acting in this, and everybody was about their fucking character. Like, oh, dudes. The other part when they get to the fucking airport, right? And they're fucking driving, and this whole thing, and hot on their heels is Heavy D and Omar Epps and Janine Garofalo and whatever, and Tom Sizemore and fucking Johnny Knoxville is like, are we doing arrivals? Are we departing?
Before,
Because to get there or whatever. And you thought the joke was done there. They get to the fucking airport and they're looking at all of the fucking flights and everything, and they're still looking like, and the
where are we
fucking
going?
befuddled, puzzled look. It just, again, so perfect. So amazing. Oh, I mean, and then even like fucking Dennis Farina and his buddy, right? The fucking assassins that come to kill Stanley Tucci's character and everything like that. And, like when they introduce them, you don't really see their faces. You just see a trip and golf clubs and a fucking gun, like a sniper rifle, just fucking whatever. And they gave some hard, like, oh, we're hunting foul or something like that. Like, oh no, we're playing with a guy that cheats. That's the thing. They're playing with they're golfing with a guy that cheats. So
Oh
that's
yeah, yeah.
the justification to the old couple that was just there. Yeah, dude. There's again, it's so many great actors, great acting, great movie, great storyline. Like this, and again, this might not. I don't know how it fares on the Rotten Tomatoes or whatever, but like this is one of my favorite movies of all time.
We can see Big Trouble, Rotten Tomatoes.
Does it even have one?
Yes, it does actually.
Does
And
it?
yes,
What
it
does
does.
it score?
And it got. I should have checked this already. Load, damn you! Oh no! Oh, it got 97 dead pigs. What?
What does even that mean?
No, I don't. Oh no, sorry. It got 48.
Okay, so on
48%.
IMDb, it gets a 6.5 out of 10. I'm like, what fucking gets a 7? Right? Like, as if this doesn't do it for you, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. Like, I don't.
It's, as I say, it is a good film. The problem is when it was released, it doesn't. It's not of great taste. It's basically like if it was never released when it was. If you release like 20 Years a Slave now, or
Can do it.
Amstad now,
Oh
Glory
yeah.
now. It's like that. Like you definitely couldn't do Glory. No, don't
No.
do it.
No. But then they just have like they had Harriet Tubman, but also they had the
No,
it's not
the Billie
us.
Holiday movie.
No, no, no,
Oh,
no. No, it was like a slave deal, but it was like also like a psychological thriller. It wasn't
yeah,
it? It
Us.
wasn't. No, it was After Us,
Oh,
which is.
can't remember.
But I digress. Like the they have. I don't know. I don't know, and that's why I don't like critics. Like, how the fuck are you gonna tell me what I like, right? Like, I like Borat, I like Jackass, I like, fucking Big Trouble. Like, what have you got for me? Like, do you like the same thing, or are you fucking like, oh, well, the acting in there, they didn't go to fucking Juilliard. Like, get the fuck out of here. It's a
That's not what
movie.
it's
It's
supposed to
fun.
be.
Like, I hate the wrestler, right? Like, and again, for me to say that, it's very like So it's a fucking movie about wrestling with a legit fucking guy like Mickey Rourke, right? And I'm a huge fucking Bruce Springsteen fan. Bruce Springsteen has a fucking song about a wrestler that is called The Wrestler, and I hate it because I'm sorry, I go to a movie to be entertained. Right, I
Not
watch a documentary to whatever. Like most people are like, "Oh, have you looked at my fucking stories on my social media?" It's like if I wanted a
no, because you're
fucking
depressed
story,
me.
if I wanted a story, I got books. That's a story.
Why aren't you
Flashing
checking my
lights,
stories? Because
fla-
it's your
f-
story.
yeah, flashing lights and whatever, and ass selfies with fucking biblical quotes. I don't.
A few gym selfies, to the side just in case.
I'm not in the demographic. That's where I'm like, I'm fucking too
What?
old for
No,
this
you
shit.
guys are the worst for it. Is the whole the strongest man flexing in the butt thing with the phone and
Who've
the
never ever seen that. Like that's why I post some dumb. I found the like drunk people, whatever on Instagram, drunk people doing dumb shit or whatever on Instagram, and that's like my favorite thing. And especially that they share reels, right? They share reels, right? Where if you just shared something or whatever, other people can't share it. You just get a screenshot. But like you could share the thing in its entirety, and I can put that shit to music, right? There's one that I fucking shared the other day with this gal who's doing like almost like stunt work, right? Where she's free falling on a trampoline and then jumping back up and whatever. And at the last sucking moment, she she's on the platform and then she trips. After all of the fucking shit, she jumps twice and lands in fucking plie or whatever the fuck, right? And then she just walks off and then she fucking takes a face bump. I'm all like,
I think I
that's
saw
great.
that one. They should have just
Yeah,
cut the last one off.
yeah, and then it's set to Van Halen's jump because why the fuck not? Yeah,
I
like
saw that one.
yeah, or this dude fucking lifting the weights and shit or whatever, and he gets knocked out. Some say it was like his disc gave out. Some also say that like the bar hit him on the way up and shit like that. Either way, right? Uh, and he lets go of it and fucking falls, right? Well, guess what? I put fucking Teddy Pendergrass's Love TKO because, and at the moment where he lets the fucking bar go, I just gotta let it go. Love TKO and he fucking falls. Like that's the shit I'm into. Find a critic for me. You're not gonna find
I
one.
don't think
I'm
you'll
not
like
even.
it.
No, it's dumb shit. Like Borat. Like again, the second one it wasn't as good as the first, but also it's a little bit more kind of a sanitized fucking product that you have to do than the first product. Not to say that Borat 2 isn't funny. I laughed my ass off. But it wasn't like Alan Keyes, he's a genuine blackface. Like, oh, fuck. Oh, chocolate face.
Chocolate.
I was like, oh my God. This is, again, what people can do. That's the thing, right? Like, with people that are born same, right? Born same, and they either have a innate talent or they work themselves to where a level of mastery where they peak to the biggest of plateaus and echelons that one can get. That's what I'm into. People are awesome. People are fucked up. That's it.
I know. So your rating, Mr. Critic, what do you give this? Don't die.
75 out of 10. Swear to God.
75.
75. Fuck yeah.
I could give it a 70, but the problem is I feel bad from when it was released. I generally don't think it was a bad film. It just, for the time, it wasn't very tasteful. But then how would you know?
Right. How would you know? But also getting out of all of that, right? And now you have, a couple years removed and whatever, and seeing it, and it still stands out, even not knowing the context of the time when it was released, and it still stands up to me. That says something. Same thing with like Fun with. Have you seen Fun with Dick and Jane? The
Yes.
Jim Carrey. Great fucking movie. Why didn't that have more acclaim than it did? That is one of the, like when I'm fucking feeling down,
True.
like that is like the script. the band. They had the fucking song about the uh, stayed up drunk all night, sing things that haven't happened for a while, that fucking song.
Mm.
Well, that sentiment is also like when my wife and I were like, Jesus, whatever. And then we fucking watch Dick and Jane, fun with Dick and Jane, and all the shit that they go through. And like, fuck, we don't really have it that bad. It puts everything into perspective. So again, my movie tastes or whatever. I haven't watched the fucking Harry Potter or Star Wars or whatever. Like I the and it's weird, right? Like watching regular things for me. Like I paid for the YouTube like unlimited subscription and whatever.
Really? Wow.
Hey, no ads. I really fucking hate ads. And then I get like exclusive content and whatever. So like I'm just watching fucking documentaries all day. It's very hard for me to sit down and watch something that somebody wrote and it's not whatever because when there's people actually doing shit and I could get 10-minute clips. I'll watch like 5 hours of 10-minute clips and like where the fuck did the day go?
True.
And but I'm also like being aware. Like I'm floating like, oh, this is Eric Clapton's guitar technique. This is what's going on in Angola. What the fuck happened in Chicago and whatever. Like in 10-minute clips of that and whatever. And it's like it's so much information and it at times can be an information overload, but like that's the shit that I like. Like I don't want to if time, right? If time is a commodity, right? Why waste time on things that are like just to be entertained, right? You could be entertained, but also get something out of it, right? Yeah, like the water, right? You can fucking do cannonballs all day, or you could also drink it, right? Same thing,
Right.
right?
You could use it educational, or you could use it destructively.
Yeah, well, cars, right? You can drive and fucking do a road trip, or some people see fit to fucking plow people over.
My driving teacher actually used to tell me to run people over.
Oh
So, but
Jesus,
I don't. I
that's
have never done that.
yes. We're not advocating for any of
Don't
that.
advocate murder.
Which is weird because I mean, just kind of a side note. The farmers market in my area that happens on Sunday, they have these little things, right? Like I mean, they're not little, but they're like banisters, like metal banisters that are little ramps attached with fucking spike strips, like Mad Max, like fucking spikes and shit like that. Because if somebody tried to plow it down, basically they would go up the fucking ramp and then have their tires serrated as they fucking fly. It's very yeah, it's kind of medieval Old Testament Jesus-y, but
Oh, just
wrath and fury. But it's fucking Game of Thrones. It's fucking something straight out of fucking Game of Thrones. Like this fucking whatever that will catapult your fucking vehicle or whatever, and then in the eye. But you going into a horrible fucking blaze of glory isn't enough. They're gonna serrate your tires on the way up.
that's like Robin Hood shit.
Yeah, who thinks of this shit? Like every time, like I see a fucking movie, I forgot who recommended it. There's this fucking movie called Midsummer that I've found, and oh god, it's just like it's so bad. It's so fucking bad. Not that it's a bad movie. It's great. The cinematography is amazing, or whatever. But like, it's just it's you're not gonna feel fucking warm and fuzzy after. This is not that fucking movie. And in one way, like, why the fuck would somebody in a fucking boardroom or crowd fund and go like, "This is what we're trying to make. Let's see it, make it happen," right? And the people go, "Yeah, that's fucking great idea." But then like the people that fucking cultivated this fucking story, if they weren't writers, what the fuck would they be doing, man? That's the scary thing.
I don't know.
Like, what
Wrestling?
is
No.
what is art versus what is like you're gonna wear my fucking face on your face and do a cookie dance. I don't know. It's weird.
Very weird.
Yeah, that
Thank
would
you,
be
Adam.
big. That would be big trouble.
Thank you, Adam.
So what would you rate? You said 70 out of a
Yeah,
10.
yeah. I just think it loses that 30% because it didn't get the traction that it could have got. I know it wasn't the fault, but its fault, but it was the disconnect for me that wasn't extremely so attractive because again, if you don't watch the movie the whole way through, you really don't understand it. And the end, like if you take into account the release time, you logically could have changed the end to fit more in tune with the times before said stuff happened.
Yes.
Even though I did like the end for weird other strange reasons.
Yeah, and this is it. Like this is not to me, and apparently, um, this is a remake of like a 1986 film, right? And it's actually I want to say it might be a British fucking comedy, right? But that's no, it's not because it actually has Beverly D'Angelo from Ellen Griswold from Vegas Vacation and all the vacation movies or whatever. So it's not a British movie, but apparently this is a remake of that 1986 whatever. So I almost feel like I need to watch that,
Yeah,
but just
probably.
on its own, not even knowing that. It's a fucking great movie with an incredible cast. I don't think you could get a better ensemble fucking cast than
You couldn't do it
this.
now.
No, like
Couldn't do
everybody's
it now.
looking pay grade and whatever. They probably, you know, some of them were like maybe getting the base rate in terms of SAG AFTRA or whatever, right? You couldn't do this. Like every bit of it, you're talking about $1 million. Heavy D is no
Mm.
longer with us, right? So can't have that. And to me, there's moments of it where it's like in Omar Epps, but then there's moments of it where it's Heavy D, and that's the other thing with all of these strong fucking characters, right? All of them are strong characters. All of them are scene stealers, but they don't lose sight of the story. Like it is very much an ensemble cast, right? The where they're trying to get to is the fucking story, right? That's what they're trying to get to. Nothing else matter. Not the shine, not the whatever. They're not fucking luchadors trying to get all their shit in, kid. No, no, like they're getting their shit into, but it makes sense.
Mm.
Which, wow, wrestling with a
You
fucking
can do
storyline
that.
that makes sense. What? Dewdrop. Anyway,
Yeah, there you go.
yeah, man. So yeah, fuck. So would you tell people to see and watch The Big Trouble?
Yes, I have. I have told people to see it, but my advice is watch it in one. Don't
One,
break it up like I did. It would confuse
yeah.
you.
Which again, most people were bragging that they fucking saw like Zack Snyder's 4.5 hour deal, right? That's what you were, and nothing against that, or whatever. But if you can't fucking sit and watch a 90 fucking minute movie, then what the fuck, man? Like,
Mm,
why not, man? And
it's
it's
true.
it's it's quirky, it's irrelevant, it's irreverent, it's dark,
And
it
educational.
educational, yeah. And again, you know, it really can't be done because it was this for people that grew up on the backside of what 9/11, right? And going to an airport. Like this kind of gives you a glimpse of what things were like before.
Mm,
Hell, one of the reasons
9/11.
why the depictions of that is one of the reasons why they couldn't fucking release it because it was so kind of free. Like the whole deal with the fucking paying money and being John Smith. Hell, Bret
Mhm.
Hart, right? Bret Hart, that was his deal, his first, wrestling trip out of the territory, where he went to fucking Puerto Rico because his brother Bruce was supposed to go with his brother Smith, right? And they were supposed to tag. And it just said B Hart for Bruce Hart.
Mhm.
Well, he's Bret Hart. And off to Puerto Rico they go.
I know.
I that's never gonna happen again.
I know. They'll charge you what $100 for you, about £90 for me, just to change your name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I love it. It stands the test of time, but like I said, there's quirky, irreverent, comedies. The fucking Fun with Dick and Jane, the Drowning Monas, like that's another fucking ensemble cast. It's just like it'll blow your fucking mind the people that are in that. But yeah, I just like this because it just Not everything has to be ha ha chuck chuck ha ha to be funny. It's like these situations, right? That's what fucking sitcoms were for. Situation comedies, right? That's what they were for. And that's what we get here. This is these people in these situations, these great actors in these situations of their characters and whatever, and they all play it to a hilt. They all play it to a hilt, like all of them. It's just again, and you could look at the performance that each of them got, and if any of them never did anything after this, cool. But the cool thing is they all did something even bigger than this. Like 20 fucking people, I
Yeah.
can tell you, from this fucking movie went on to bigger things after this. What can you say that?
That's why you gotta watch it.
Yeah, man. Fuck yeah. Speaking of watch and following and everything, for people who want to get more of Big Fem Vader, Ayesha Raymond, which shouldn't everybody?
Yeah, they
Where
should.
can they? Yeah. So where can they find you on the interwebs?
On the interwebs, on the social medias, BigFemVader at BigFemVader into every site you can think of, or at Fierce Females Glasgow. Or if you want to hear some silliness like this movie, you can go to at Efkin Show.
Shit, yeah. And there might be a link tree right in the description
Down
of
there.
this very video that gives you everything that Aisha's doing, and it's all fucking fun shit. And then me, I'm According to Woods, and you can follow me here. Subscribe to the podcast on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, what have you. If you don't believe me, here's Zeta Zang.
Hey, this is
Hey.
Zeta Zhang. Make sure you subscribe.